Steve Alcorn's a fine investigator.
Oh, fuck off!
This is the Fortean Slip with your host, Chris York.
I don't need porn, Chris. I have a good woman.
Listen, I have a good woman. I still watch porn.
Co-host, Steve Alcorn.
You are the top shit in Bigfootery if you get the invitation.
Oh, are you?
I've gotten the invitation 2 years in a row now, Chris.
Wow, not me.
And sometimes special guest, Matt Knapp.
It's part of growing older, you know? Maturing. Makes me more dignified and stuff.
Okay, George Washington.
I opted for the...
Is that what meth addicts say? That make me more dignified.
Taking on all things strange since 2013.
Wait a minute.
I don't know what the hell...
Are you saying that he's pregnant?
Possibly.
Was he implanted by one of these teenage aliens?
Didn't it happen to Arnold?
This device, which comes as part of Nintendo's Quality of Life initiative, is
going to have kids running around banging their heads off bricks.
Yeah.
You're about to witness the strength of creep knowledge.
Hiya, peoples, and welcome to the Fortean Slip. This is episode 90.
90.
The end of the world is coming. The super blood moon, prophecy, tetrad, singularity, Nibiru, asteroid death. It's all coming, Steve.
Hey, Chris, before we get into that, I've got a little bit of information to share with you. Now, I didn't tell you before the show because I simply forgot.
Oh.
You know how the opening of our show, I say, well, you're the big shit if you get invited to that Beachfoot thing?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I got in my email today.
You've been invited to Beachfoot?
Again! Here's the thing. It doesn't seem to matter what I say or who I say it to. I still get invited to that fucking thing. I love it.
It's like a clique.
I don't want to be a part of it. That's the thing.
I just like how a gentleman that went to that told me that it's just a hobby.
Yeah.
Except for... What's that?
Except for maybe a very few. It is just a hobby because, you're not out there spending weeks and months like, maybe some guy in Maine says he does, looking for this thing.
Oh, I would like to welcome our new listener, Cunthead from Bangor.
Bangor?
Wherever the fuck he is around Bangor. He's somewhere up there near fucking Bangor or Bangor, or however the fuck you want to pronounce it. Maine. He, yes, a new listener. Read between the lines if you want to figure out who he is.
I think I have an idea. Well, there's only 2 people in Maine who would ever dare listen to our show. Well, 3, you, and then 2 others. But
I have to. I mean, I'm a perfectionist, so I go back over every fucking show and listen to them.
So welcome to the Fortean Slip. We hope you enjoy your stay.
Yes.
Dickhead.
Fucking douchebag. So yes, tonight the blood supermoon eclipse, end of the world prophecy happens. How far away are we from this fucking thing, Steve? We're recording like during it's fucking going on right now.
Well, not technically. It's 8:33 p.m. Eastern time. 8:34 p.m. Eastern time. I think it starts at 9:30 tonight. So hopefully we're done and I can see some blood on the moon or whatever it's supposed to be. I don't know.
It's the end of the world, Steve. It's the tetrad, I think it's called.
Do you even know what a tetrad is, Chris?
No, I fucking have no clue.
I do. It's a cycle of, I think it's 4 lunar eclipses. It's a tetrad.
Well, I knew there was 4 of them.
So that's what your tetrad is.
Oh, okay.
4 lunar eclipses. Yeah.
Sweet. We've got 4 of them.
So this tetrad started in
and they all happened on like Jewish holidays.
Something of that nature. So. April 15th, 2014 was the first one. It was a total lunar eclipse, I guess. And then you had another one on October 8th of 2014. And then you skip all the way to April 4th of 2015, which was the last one. Now this one tonight is the culmination of the tetrad,
With
I
the
guess.
big fucking supermoon, Steve.
Super moon.
The fucking thing's huge, too. Because I was driving home, and it was, like, literally pretty much in my field of vision the whole drive. And it is a big-ass moon in the sky tonight.
Unfortunately, where I'm at, it's kind of overcast tonight, so I probably will not be able to see it. But I think you can watch it. I mean, if you're overcast and you want to see it, you can watch it on NASA's website.
Yeah, they got fucking live feeds everywhere. I'm sure if you pop on like Ustream, or I'm sure there's a YouTube channel with a live feed.
I should have done that.
Yeah.
Damn.
I'm sure there's all kinds of live feeds for that fucking thing. But I've got nice clear skies out tonight. I might try to get some images of it, post them on the website, and post them.
That'd be cool.
On Facebook and shit. But yeah, I'd seen that when I was driving home tonight, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's tonight. It's the fucking supermoon tonight. That thing is
super.
When it's big like that, it looms in the sky.
Oh yeah, I remember once when I was a kid, and I don't know if it was a supermoon, but my God, it was big that night. And I was supposed to go to this roller skating thing with a church. You know, I used to be a big churchy boy and all that shit. Oh yeah,
you were Mr. Churchgoer.
Grandma said, if the doors were open, I was there, and that was the truth. I was there all the time. But anyway, I remember one time the moon was so fucking big, and it looked like it had a red cast to it. And I remember the verse of scripture from the Bible, which they're basing this whole apocalyptic bullshit off of, where the moon turns to blood before the day of the Lord comes or something like that. I remembered that prophecy that night when I'm seeing this moon. Well, I get to the church and nobody's there. And God is my witness, man. I thought, holy fuck. So rapture happened and I missed it.
Only you would fucking think that, instead of like going to the nearest phone and like calling somebody.
Well, this was back in the 80s.
Right, back when you'd have to go to a phone.
Phones.
No, back when you'd have to go to a phone to call someone at their home.
I'd have had to walk another 2 miles to get to a payphone.
They didn't have a phone at the church?
The church was closed.
It was like locked up?
Yeah, what really in reality happened was I missed it by an hour. I got the time wrong. I had walked 14 miles to get there. I wasn't walking another 2 miles to go find a fucking payphone. So, and so I stayed at the church because I had no idea what to do. I'm thinking, well, I just missed the rapture.
Oh, ye of little faith, Steve. You fucking late to the party. Anyway, you late to the party, motherfucker.
So anyway, I missed the rapture, so I figured the best place for me to stay would be at the church. Maybe God would say, oh yeah, I forgot one, and come back and get me or something. I didn't know. But anyway, they came back a couple hours later from the skating party, and my girlfriend at the time, who is my girlfriend now, her mother was nice enough to give me a ride back to my grandparents' house, and that was that. So I got to ride in the car with her, hold her hand and shit.
Look at that. Everything comes full circle, Steve.
That's right. That's right.
Everything comes full circle. Speaking of love and love lost, to this week's big fucking news, The Ghost Adventures couple.
Yeah.
The murder-suicide. Now, we did the story on Wednesday.
I think it was, when did it happen? Was it Tuesday or Wednesday, I think?
I don't know
We did
what
the story
day it
right
actually
away.
happened. This happened in Nevada. Was it Reno or Las Vegas or some shit?
Reno and Sparks.
Sparks, that's right.
I think it's all real close to Vegas, ain't it? I think those places. I don't know. I've never been there.
I just assume it's all in the same spot in the desert.
Same general area.
Yeah. But and not many new details have emerged. I mean, we kind of all figured that it was a domestic thing, like murder suicide, and ultimately now what do they think, that the other guy that was shot because he assumed that his wife was having something to do with this guy, even though they were estranged, and she had put a restraining order on him.
The other guy's name was, it's in this article, so his name's out there now, so I can say it, but I had known his name when we did the news story, only because I seen it on Facebook, because, we're into all the Fortean topics, so we see this stuff on Facebook, but James Anderson was his name. Now, from what I understand, and it's not in this news story that we found, but from what I understand, he was just a friend. There was no relationship or anything going on there.
He just got caught. He just got caught in the fucking crossfire is what happened with him.
Yeah. Now, whether, now we're talking about, obviously, for those who don't know, Debbie and Mark Constantino, who were ghost hunting people, and they were on that Ghost Adventures, that Zach Baggins show.
Yeah, the Ghost Adventures, yeah.
So anyway,
I don't know if they were on it, like, I know they were on it like a few times, I guess, but I don't know if they were considered regulars or whatnot.
From what I understand, I don't know if they were regulars. I never watched the show.
Right, I'm of the same school. I'm not a fan of those shows.
No, but they were big time conference speakers and things like that, and they were allegedly, because we have to say allegedly because we don't know that there's any truth to it, but they were allegedly EVP experts, electronic voice phenomena experts. So that was their bag. That's what they did on, the Ghost Adventures show. And I'm sure that's what they did at the conferences too. So, that kind of evidence is what they were known for.
Right.
But yeah, it's pretty shitty stuff, man. Right?
Hey, violent shit that goes on between couples it's more prevalent than people think.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter who you are. And I think I tried to make that point on the show on Saturday on the news that, it doesn't matter who you are. This shit happens, and these people were pretty well known in the ghost community and even in a lot of other paranormal communities that intermingle and shit. But from all reports, they seem to be a happy couple, and apparently they weren't. So, and she had just filed for divorce, or was told him she was going to divorce him, and he just must have snapped or something. I think probably the restraining order she had just filed for was probably what threw him over the top. But there was a history, like you said, of domestic violence, I think, between both of them. I know he had been arrested for it before, and I seen on this story that you sent me, she had a mugshot too, so she must have been arrested for it in the past as well. So, yeah, it's seemingly on the outside, we're all, what we want people to see, but nobody knows sometimes what goes on behind closed doors, and it's some scary shit, and it can lead to this. And,
hey, I used to date a chick, or, I say date. I fucking lived with her for years. And she was a violent fucking bitch. I mean, and she was one of those women who would fucking smack you, kick you, slap you, punch you, and then cry that she was abused.
Yeah. I'm familiar.
I mean, that shit. I remember one time she kept blocking my way to get out of the fucking house. I just wanted to leave. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to get out of the situation. I didn't want to be around her anymore. I didn't want to have to deal with her anymore. I didn't want to fucking get hit by her anymore, and I obviously
Yeah,
didn't
no
want
doubt.
to raise a hand against her. I just wanted to get out of the fucking house, and I called the cops, and they took forever to fucking get there. I mean, by the time they got there, everything had fucking settled down. Like, I was sitting on the couch, and the state trooper comes in, and he's like, well, I have to come in because you called. And I'm like, well, everything's fine. I mean, you know, because that's how it would go. She'd freak out, and then everything would calm down. And I dealt with it because I was a fucking douche.
Yeah. Hey, man, I've been there. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So he comes in the house, and he's like, well, I got to go down and talk to her. So he goes down to talk to her to make sure she's okay. I'm like, I called you. Like, not her, me. Like, it was me that called you. She's the one that was fucking pulling the bullshit. And there's still so much gender bias when it comes to shit.
Absolutely.
And it's the same way in divorce courts. There's so much gender bias. Like, oh, God, the shit I've dealt with my divorce.
I'm just going to do a real quick thing on gender bias. The state of Ohio. I lived in Pennsylvania, as everybody knows, but once I moved to the state of Ohio and tried to enroll my son in school, in Pennsylvania, you don't have to have a custody agreement. So my son's lived with me since he's been 4. You know, he's hasn't 4 or 5 years old. He hasn't lived with his mom at all. He's always been, I've been responsible for him. I never had any issues. I moved to the state of Ohio and I had to go through all sorts of rigmarole just to get him enrolled in school, because in Ohio, the mother has custody unless there's papers stating otherwise. And it doesn't matter what you had over in Pennsylvania or California or Florida or whatever. In Ohio, so it's and to me that's gender bias.
Oh yeah.
So,
I mean, the fact that you know, I've never been able to claim my kids on my taxes. And when I went to divorce court, all I asked for was 1 kid every other year. You know, I mean, I asked for less than half.
Yep.
And I was denied by the judge.
But that's the way it is. And
yeah.
So who knows?
But yeah.
Now I do have to say, in Pennsylvania, I had a domestic violence situation once with my ex-wife. It was after we split up, but I called, you know, because she was.
You smacked. I was gonna say you smacked a bitch.
I had to push her to get her away from me, and she hit the ground pretty hard and got a big bruise on her leg. But that was only to get her off of me. But I called the cops, and in Pennsylvania, you both go to jail. If they show up, you both go to jail. And then they let the court system sort it out after that. So
you spent a night in the clink?
I did not. He says, do you know that in this state, if you call for domestic violence, we take you both? And I said, no, I didn't know that. He said, do you still want us to come? I said, no, you're okay. I'll handle this on my own. And we did. And, you know, I left, and that was that. I was going to pick up my boy.
Hey, I guess that's better than them automatically deferring to the female in the situation.
It might be, because I called the state police because it was late, and you know, but it might be up to the department, whatever department you called. You know, it might be their way of doing things.
But I think the bigger fucking issue is that this is an issue, and it's an issue that needs to be addressed. And I'm not saying that, you know, the government needs to be sticking their fucking noses into people's business and monitoring their relationships or anything like that. But I mean, come on, people. If you're getting a little heated in your relationship, just take a fucking breath. Take a walk. Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
And
I mean, she had a restraining order against the guy. What good did that do?
Yeah,
you know?
I mean,
there's got to be some other thing that can go on. You know. I don't know what you could do,
people get
though.
deep, man. People get really deep. They get they feel like they're trapped. They feel like that this is it for them. It's a dangerous road to go down.
I'm wondering because no, we didn't really go over the details, but I guess he had found her with her roommate, who happened to be a guy, and he shot that guy, and then he just kidnapped her and took her to his daughter's house, her apartment. That's when the cops showed up.
Oh yeah, and there was
And
like
I'm
a big
wondering-
standoff with the cops.
Yeah, and what did it say? It lasted like 2 hours, and then eventually, it ended this way. But I'm wondering, had the cops not showed up, what would have happened? Do you think it would have ended up the same way? Do you think that sometimes when the cops are there, negotiating with the hostage taker or
Oh,
whatever?
I think he was all in with whatever he was going to do, whether the cops showed up or not.
Right.
I think after he shot the dude at the house,
Well,
her roommate.
Once you kill one, you're gonna have to finish the job, because you're gonna end up either dead because you're gonna get shot by a cop, you're gonna kill yourself, or you're gonna end up in jail for the rest of your fucking life. So that's once he shot that first guy, that was his options. He had nothing else, Now it's unfortunate that he took her too, but we don't know what their relationship was like, only from what we can tell on the outside, the surface. And then now, of course, this story. But I don't think obviously she thought she was in danger because she filed for a restraining order.
Those types of relationships, they're just so destructive. Just if
Oh,
you're in one, get the fuck out. Don't worry about it. There's other people in the world. There's other people in the world who aren't going to fucking make your life miserable. Maybe you need to work on you. Maybe you need to figure out, swallow your fucking pride and, get some fucking therapy. I don't fucking know. Or just work on you. But get the fuck out of the situation. Don't stay in that situation and fester and get worse and get to a point where something like this happens. Because that's what happens. People sit in these situations for so long that the demon builds. The monkey on your back just gets heavier and fucking heavier and heavier. And eventually you fucking pop.
Well, even in my relationship with my ex-wife, there was days, man. There were days where, it didn't seriously cross my mind, but some days, man, I just wish she was, no longer with us, so to speak, because you get so frustrated when you're in
it's like that
relationship.
it's like that Chris Rock bit where he talks about OJ. I'm not saying that it was right, but I understand.
Right. And I completely understand, and you completely understand this type of situation. No,
I don't understand how he went this far. I understand how these situations get there, yes. But right. I don't understand. I don't understand, like, in this situation, supposedly this guy that she was living with was just a roommate. It wasn't like a sexual thing. I mean,
and even if it was,
but yeah, it's just fucking get out of it. Just get the fuck out of it. If you're in a situation, like, get the fuck out of it.
Dude, I'm telling you, when my ex-wife and I split up, I cried just like everybody else does and shit. And I'm so fucking glad it happened. I'm a better man for it. And even before Marcia came along, I was a better man for not being with her, because it was a volatile, horrible, shitty relationship. Now, we can get along fine when we're not married. But so I understand what could drive a person to get that angry. I get it. But I don't get how you kill somebody over it,
Steve.
I would have never. I mean, I understand
I love
your
you.
thoughts.
You're an awesome, handsome, good squatcher. You're like number one in the world.
I just wanted to make you feel better.
Daily Affirmations by Matthew Johnson. Oh, I don't even want to go into that tonight.
No, neither do I. I don't. No.
I had a nice long YouTube argument with, I think it might be our new listener.
The new listener from Maine?
The newest listener from Maine, yeah. And his panda buddy. But yeah, that was pretty cool. I love a heated debate, Chris. I really do. Seriously, even if, the other person's totally way off base, but it's still fun.
Well, sometimes you just I try to engage the assholes out there just because. I mean, there's tons of people that are just going to hate on what we do, and I have no issue with that. It is what it is. Some people really like it. Some people don't like it. Some people are indifferent to it. It's all fine. I look at it as I'll find my audience, and I don't care that there's people out there like, why are you gonna say fuck too much? I had a guy rip me the other day about it, and I was just like, the show is what it is, and I note that it's that way. Like, it's noted everywhere that it's uncensored, that it's an uncensored show. It's noted on my blog, it's noted on YouTube, it's noted on Facebook, wherever it's posted. You cannot go to a link that I post for that show and not have access to or see that it's uncensored. So,
and I realize that there's people out there who would prefer not to have that type of show. Well, they can prefer not to listen then.
Yeah, and they can prefer to listen to something else. And it doesn't bother me one bit. You don't need to sit there and fucking tell me. And I wanted to share this on the show.
Oh, yes. Come on, please.
And,
can you divulge the name?
Absolutely. It was sent to me on Facebook.
Okay, then it's public then.
It's public knowledge. This is from Randy Ray. I love the name, by the way.
Randy Ray, that is a cool name.
Randy Ray.
Randy Ray. I've seen him in, well, not that I have access to Dr. Johnson's group, because, I wouldn't create a fake account and do that, but I've seen the name before.
So I guess we kind of do have to talk a little Johnson tonight. So
okay,
sorry, Steve. Let's go. So Randy Ray sends me, and this was on 9/26, so yesterday. I didn't realize what type of show you were. Fortean Slip. Sounds cool. No offense, but dogging out Dr. Matthew Johnson showed me you are not open-minded. Bigfoot exists. I have seen him. Oh, and tracks and vocals and tree knocks and rock throwing, Dr. J has seen them. We can't help that. Dr. J has dedicated many years to research. Years in the woods, sleeping outside no matter what the weather to share in this phenomena. He is a world-renowned psychologist. He has written books. He is educated and of sound mind. Imagine what he puts on the line to simply share and try and give all the armchair bandits evidence of this undiscovered being. If he says it, then it is truth. If he says there are portals, I thank him for sharing, and I know it is truth. Until you have spent a fraction of the effort he has and I have, please give more respect. We are on the cusp of something huge.
I'm still waiting.
My response,
something huge.
My response, Steve.
Fuck off.
I've spent more time in the woods than you have spent time slinging bullshit, which is probably your whole life. I live in the woods. I grew up in Maine in the fucking woods. So don't go preaching anything about respect for individuals who are out there. I could give two fucks. To which Randy Ray responded, Steve, I was raised in Maine. I must be older. I don't remember Mainers being such fucktards. I was respectful. You sound like a dick. Done with you and your show. To which I responded, good riddance. Respect is earned, asshole.
Thank you, Randy Ray, for listening. Because he's listening.
Fuck Randy Ray.
Listen, he said it all in one little sentence in that whole thing. He said what goes on with anybody who follows. And listen, I believe that there could be a Bigfoot out there. This is not about that. And we get this all the time. Anybody who's skeptical about anything gets it. You don't believe in Bigfoot. You don't believe in UFOs. You don't believe in whatever. I do. And I believe Dr. Johnson saw one. Or what he thought was one in 2000. I believe that. And I believe that it changed the person he was. And I think he's so desperate to do it again that he believes whatever he wants. But Randy Ray said it all in one sentence. If he says it, I believe it. He said it all. Because that's the mentality. Well, Dr. J said it, I'm going to believe it.
I'm the cult of personality.
I'm going to tell you something else. Like we spoke earlier, I was born and raised in church. I was there whenever the doors were open. And I had one preacher one time said to us, to a whole congregation, he says, just because I'm saying it up here doesn't mean you take my word for it. Look it up yourself. And that, to me, was the most important thing that preacher ever said. You know, and the mentality of these people who follow Dr. Johnson or any of these other habituators, and I'm not against habituation either, by the way. I'm just against the way they do it. You know, the leaving the foodstuffs out and that kind of stuff. I'm against that. If you want to go out and pretend to habituate Bigfoot, go do it. But at least fucking think for yourself, you know? Think for your fucking self. That's all I'm asking.
It's impossible to do, Steve. They don't believe in it.
They don't, and that's the problem. Randy Filipovic did a blog today. It was unrelated to Dr. Johnson, but there was a statement in there, and I've got to look it up. But it said, belief, something to the effect that belief makes its own reality. Belief creates its own reality. And that is the absolute fucking truth.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Belief creates its own reality.
It's all about perception. And if those people want to perceive that he is some type of Bigfoot god or Bigfoot messiah, then they're going to fucking believe it, man. And they're just going to go with it.
You know, the thing is, there might even be Bigfoots in Soha. We don't know. There might be portals in Soha. We don't know. But what goes on, you know, as far as because somebody says it, you believe it, and then, you know, teaching people to leave, even though our new listener in Maine says, you know, food is food and you can leave anything out you want for animals. It's whatever the fuck, whatever.
He's a trained biologist, Steve. I guess we got to go with what he says.
I mean, go to any Department of Natural Resources website or Wildlife Humane Society website. And trust me,
they have to be all wrong, Steve, because the douche from Bangor.
They all are wrong because they say not to leave food out in the forest but there are no critters in, you know, Soha, so it's okay. But anyway, so they're believing him just because he says it. That is horrible. You know, a horrible way to believe. You don't want to believe because you've seen it or because you've researched it and studied it, but don't believe just because somebody says it.
You don't have any faith. You don't have any faith, Steve.
I don't want to have faith. Faith is a horrible thing. I've learned that it's true because if you have faith the size of a grain of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. Well, I haven't seen a damn soul move a mountain yet. You know? I'm just saying, faith is, you can't base your life off of faith. You have to base your life off of reality. You know? I'm just saying. That's my opinion on the subject.
We welcome
yours.
Your
beliefs. I have my beliefs, you know, but don't base everything you do off of that belief. Do some research, study it for yourself, make sure what you're thinking is the truth, and then go from there. That's it.
I'm with you, Steve.
Think for your fucking self.
And on that note, I think we will move to the ranting of Sir Richard.
Ooh, I've been waiting all week
for the week.
So on this episode of the Rantings of a Schizophrenic Brit, I'm going to take
He's calling it his own episode now?
Psychonauts briefly, Matt Nat being a total fucking genius, and delve into the mystical, fantastical world of psychics. First, though, a little note about the tragedy in the paranormal community this week.
Oh, he might scoop us.
Investigators got killed in what looks like one of them horrible husband kills wife than himself type things. All I'm going to say about that is sociopaths can get a little testy when subjects move out of their control. Take a look at their history and you'll see the signs. I mean, she stabbed him with a knife or slashed him, then him and his daughter beat her up, and then he kidnapped her and then shot her and then himself. Stuff is fucked up, man. It's not cool, and it's really sad. Prayers or whatever paranormal people do to the innocent person killed and all the people involved. Not Steve Huff, though. I mean, what kind of evil, sadistic cuntbag takes
Motherfucker.
someone's
I
death
see.
to promote his own mobile app?
I'm still reading the
Reach
story.
out to them and hope to record their EVPs. EVPs are shite, dude. We all know it's you whispering, you fucking cunt. I mean, seriously, a couple of people die and you immediately move in to exploit it with your lame-o
I should have
attempts
given him a little
at
more volume
paranormal
this week.
research. I'm the head cunt of the paranormal community. Sorry, Norm Glasser, you've lost your title. Moving on from the shameless exploitation of dead people, I want to spend a moment talking about the fantastically awesomely awesome game Psychonauts. I believe I'm in my rights to talk about this because it's about a Fortean subject, i.e. invading other people's minds, fixing their mental health problems, releasing buried memories and shit like that. It's a fucking awesome original game. Wish to God they'd make a fucking sequel already. Right, you take control of this little dude called Raz, who's been blessed with mental abilities, so he runs away from the circus, not to, from the circus, and joins a psychic summer camp. In it, he is trained to control his
psychic
skills
summer
into
camp? Is that
people's
what he
mind
said?
through an actual screen
Yes.
door on their heads. I mean, that alone is fucking hilarious. If you think this sounds a bit dodgy for you at this stage, I'd like to point out that you invade a giant fish's brain and terrorize a small city of fish people Godzilla style. The jokes
Well,
are
there you
playful
go.
and hilarious. Why am I talking about this? Well, I couldn't for the life of me think of anything to talk about this week. Honestly, I blame my blog. It's tapping out my creative
He didn't
juices.
even edit that out.
Well, that sounds a bit dodgy. Anyway, but I spoke to the Caligulan Superman, Matt Knapp, who inadvertently put me onto psychics.
Is he like Duran
I've
now?
seen
Matt
media
Nap.
I've lost someone. I was really down. I just needed anything to get me through. I mean, I know they're all frauds, but sometimes a little false hope is better than nothing. Anyway, he was fucking useless. Tried to tell me she was happy playing with her dollies and waiting for me on the other side. She fucking hated dolls, and she loved skipping ropes. Douchebag. I think the whole thing's based on good memory and body language, right? That guy was a fucking moron. Deserves to be shot, in my honest opinion. Was going to end this with the Fillers of Genius audio again, but I'm not really feeling it now. Bad move talking about that.
I'm never feeling it.
Anyway, I'm all ranted out. Take that with a pinch of salt. And Matthew Johnson's a cunt.
I love the way he ends his book. I have to agree with him, and this was a little bit more of a serious rant from Richard, which is pretty cool. But yeah, those people are exploiting, sorrow and hardship and loss, and it's bullshit. So
It is what it is.
I can't really laugh at Sir Richard this week because it was more of a serious subject.
I wish I'd given him some volume. I didn't know he was going to be so low. I forgot that he's recording at the old folks' home, and he has to keep it quiet. So, I mean, I'll cut him a little slack.
Yeah, we'll cut him some slack.
A little bit.
And Matt Knapp is a genius.
Matt Knapp. The man's so good they named him twice.
Yeah. Not with us tonight, darn it.
Oh, he had to fucking cook. He's like, what's his face in Goodfellas? He's slicing the onions so thin right now, or not the onions. He's slicing something so thin it like melts in the garlic, so thin it melts in the pan. Because he's fucking cooking dinner.
He's just good like that.
Yeah, he had some shit. Sunday nights are always a clusterfuck, or always have been a clusterfuck for us, because we all live in different places. Matt lives in a different time zone.
Yep.
And for the life of us, it's constantly been confusing.
Oh yeah, and you know, like my schedule changes a lot because of different sport seasons or Marcia's work schedule, or you know, like yesterday we couldn't do the news. You weren't feeling well, and then we couldn't do it
I
later
was
because I had
fucking
a
feeling
wedding.
like horrid dog shit when I woke. I snapped out of it. Like by the time, you know, I wound up getting up and getting moving. I snapped out of it, but I was sitting here and I'm just like, oh God, I feel like horrid shit. And I knew that I wasn't going to be able to bring anything to the table, so I wasn't about to fucking turn on the microphone and just
Yeah, no
fucking
shit,
be
man.
like,
But before we read the news, I want to say I doubt my nephew listens to this show, but congratulations, Shane and Shelby. That was a fucking beautiful wedding, man. I don't like weddings. I hate them. To me, I'd rather celebrate a divorce, you know, because you're free. But that was actually a great celebration, and it was pretty cool. And if it was anybody else, I'd have left early. But those guys rocked it, man. And it was a pretty cool wedding, and I'm proud of the kid.
Good
you know,
times.
for he's my nephew, so I'm proud of him, and I think they're going to have a long, happy marriage. So congratulations, guys. I'm getting all mushy, Chris.
all right, what was the song that they danced to?
Oh,
This is an Opie and Anthony bit. What was the song that they danced to?
I don't remember.
We need to find this. We need to find this out.
Okay.
We need to find this out. Because
right.
the best thing is when the couple gets divorced, then you go back and listen to the song that they fucking danced to.
I don't see that happening. They've been together for quite a long time and just finally decided, okay, it's time, you know. And I'm just proud of my nephew. He's come a long way. So
Excellent.
a very long way. And he's one hell of a cosmetologist.
Great. Do you got
Not
any?
gay.
Do you got any news?
Yes.
Good.
So earlier, Chris, Sir Richard touched on this story about Steve Huff, and this is from EerieEcho.com, EERIE, echo.com. Steve Huff is attempting to communicate with Mark and Debbie Constantino.
Because he's an asshole.
Right, exactly. I think on the last news you had mentioned that I wonder how long it's going to take. Well, you mentioned
and I'm serious. I'm serious about that question. I wonder how long it takes before Zach Baggins fucking looks into buying that property.
Right, but it didn't take very long for this Steve Huff asshole to do it. Not buy the property, but try to communicate with
their past spirits already.
So murder suicide is rocking the paranormal community this week. Of course, we know that. Mark Constantino shot and killed his wife Debbie and the other gentleman, and then himself during a standoff with police. EVP specialist, whatever the hell that means, Steve Huff says he has already tried to reach out to the spirits of the deceased paranormal investigators. Mark and Debbie were best known for appearing on the Travel Channel's hit series Ghost Adventures with Zach Baggins. They were paranormal investigators and specialized in audio and EVP analyses. Constantino allegedly kidnapped her and then murdered her and her male roommate. After the murder, Constantino took his wife hostage and fled to his apartment in Sparks, and that's where he murdered Debbie. We touched on that earlier. But anyway, this Steve guy, a dickhead, Steve Huff, says that the best time to communicate with spirits is immediately upon their death. He claimed that he did a ghost box session after he heard the news.
What a fucking fantastic guy this guy is.
Yeah.
Just fucking top shelf.
He said, I already did a session and had some flat out amazing things come through, but I'm not posting it as everyone gets all weird over it. Debbie was in this field. EVP was her specialty. While some paranormal investigators...
He's got to find a way to fucking monetize it.
Right. While some paranormal investigators openly agree with Huff, most of them disagree, saying it is disgraceful. And I have to 100% agree with those who disagree with him, because what a bunch of fucking bullshit. You know, capitalizing on the debt. We're talking about it. Our show is monetized, but I think we're being pretty respectful. We didn't, except for saying that back.
What am I saying? No, here's the thing. What am I supposed to fucking do? It's the biggest news this week. Am I supposed to just go, fuck this? Let's not do it because let's respect these people?
No, I think we did our story, and tonight I think our episode was very respectful of them, the portion we did on them. If you want to communicate with the dead, that's fine. But
no, I think the bigger issue here, fuck communicating with the dead. Fuck Steve Huff. Fuck him.
Fuck him.
The bigger issue which we have tried to purvey through the episode is that there is a fucking problem with domestic violence and people who are in volatile relationships. Get the fuck out!
Absolutely. I can't agree with you more. And that's coming from somebody who stayed in a volatile relationship for a long time, you know, and you did too. So we kind of know what we're talking about. Had we to do it over again, we would have removed ourselves from those situations a lot sooner.
Oh, I went back for round 2 with that bitch.
I almost did too.
I did. I spent years away from her and then went back.
I know. What is it? And I think that was
pussy.
The whole...
It's pussy.
Yeah. Well, for some, you know, I loved my ex-wife. I'm not going to lie, you know, and maybe that's what it was for me. But I don't now. I mean, there's not a feeling one now. But, you know, and I did try to go back. But I didn't try to communicate with somebody moments after they die. I mean, this guy was... This pisses me off, Chris. This guy... The story had just come out, and he's already doing this, you know, trying to capitalize on their deaths. Because I think, if I remember correctly, and I don't know if you said it or I heard it on Facebook, and I could be wrong, isn't he doing some sort of app?
I want to say, and this is allegedly, I don't know if it's in the story or not, that I had heard that he's trying to promote some EVP app. But I don't know if that's true, and I'm not stating that it is true.
And if that's the case, it's pure fucking bullshit. You know, pure fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm going to go on to another story because that one pisses me off. Federal agents were apparently concerned over the opening of the Haiku Center for UFO Research in Japan after museum workers stumbled across a document.
Did you say haiku?
Yes, haiku. Hakui. Hakui. I said haiku because it's the only Japanese word I know. Yeah. Anyway, they stumbled across a document suggesting the FBI found 3 metallic saucer-shaped objects. Each contained 3-foot-tall occupants, according to the memo. The U.S. government then kept files surrounding the museum, sending conspiracy theorists.
And those little people now form the band Mini Kiss.
I'm trying to figure out why the FBI is surrounding a museum in Japan. But
those little people are now featured on Little People, Big World.
According to the Journal Telegraph, the memo read, an investigator for the Air Forces states that 3 so-called...
One of those little people is a star on Game of Thrones.
3 so-called flying saucers has been recovered in New Mexico. Each one was occupied by 3 bodies of human shape, but only 3 foot tall. They were described as being circular in shape with raised centers. That's the UFO, not the people. Although that would be pretty cool. The little
I was going to say, what are they, fucking Weeble Wobbles?
50 feet in diameter, too. This is a big...
Look, sir, we can hit them on the head, and they just bounce back.
According to Mr. Name Blackened Out, that's how they have it in the story, because you can't see that, obviously, because I'm reading it over there. The informant, the saucers were found in New Mexico due to the fact that the government has a very high-powered radar set up in the area, and it is believed that the radar interferes with controlling mechanisms of the saucers. No further evaluation was attempted by, I'm guessing, the Air Force concerning the above. So the FBI is now in Japan because somehow these Japanese people got a hold of a U.S. Air Force document. I don't know.
Got me,
I
Steve.
think I was from the dailystar.co.uk. I forgot to copy and paste the, so, you know, a real reputable news source. Oh, and the big news of the week, Chris, huge. I think this is going to be, you know, change all of our lives forever. I really do. NASA.gov. NASA will detail a major science finding from the agency's ongoing exploration of Mars during a news briefing at 11:30 a.m. Eastern
The
Daylight
woman
Time.
on Mars is real?
We're going to find out tomorrow morning.
The crab creature is real?
This is happening on September 28th, which is tomorrow, at the James Webb Auditorium at
What about
NASA
the
headquarters.
skeleton of the lizard creature?
The event will be broadcast live on NASA television and the agency's website. You're going to have some of these participants. Jim Green, who's the director of planetary science. Ooh, sounds important. Michael Myers. Not that Michael Myers. Lead scientist.
I was all worried for a second, Steve. I was like looking for a weapon.
He's the lead scientist for the Mars exploration program. Now this one's
Nobody
gonna be hard
stay
to
in a
pronounce.
room alone with him.
No. Luhendra Oha of the Georgia Institute of Technology in Atlanta. I probably butchered the fuck out of
You
that.
probably did.
Mary Beth Wilhelm of NASA's Ames Research Center and Georgia Institute of Technology, and Alfred McEwen, principal investigator for the High Resolution Imaging Science Experiment, or HiRISE for short, University of Arizona.
Sure.
Anyway, there will be a brief question and answer session because, you know, they're divulging alien existence or something. Members of the public can also ask questions on Twitter at hashtag Ask NASA. I don't know why that makes me chuckle.
It's. I mean, listen. Can people ask the people at NASA some questions? Sure. Are they gonna get like fucking detailed inside information? No. And it is very cool the way that things are set up nowadays, where we can interact with other people, and you know there are these outlets and so on and so forth. But I mean, sometimes it's a little overkill.
At least in the Fortean communities, the speculation is rampant on what NASA's going to announce. In my opinion, and one I think is a little bit stronger than the other. In my opinion, it's either going to be, liquid water, because they know there's ice there already, but liquid water, or maybe microbial life forms. What else would be so important that NASA would have a press conference? You know, they're not going to say, okay, the pyramids on Mars are real, or the crab woman, or whatever the fuck it was. They're not going to say
a crab,
that.
and then there was a picture of a woman too. Steve, come on, keep up with the Mars photographs. Steve.
I think a crab woman would be the bigger story.
I saw the skeleton of the lizard creature today when I was looking online. That was pretty interesting. Kind of. Not really.
Friend requested Scott Waring, the one that puts out all these stupid fucking Mars anomaly photos, just to keep up on the bullshit he puts up. It's kind of funny, and he actually accepted my request. So he's never obviously listened to our show, but
yeah, they'll probably announce water or some
I'm guessing
some type of small life, if anything.
I don't know that they're years back there was a meteorite or something that came from Mars, or they assumed it came from Mars, that did have some sort of microbial life in it. But I don't think that they could tell if it actually came from Mars with the microbial life, or it happened once it got here. So it would be really cool if they did find life forms on that, another planet. I think that would be a huge fucking announcement. I think even more important than water, because if you got life forms, you have to have water. So maybe it's both.
Maybe.
Or maybe they're going to finally, disclosure is nigh, Chris. Maybe we'll finally find out that we are being visited by extraterrestrials from Zeta Reticuli.
Huh?
I don't know. That's, Betty Hill.
Oh.
That's where she said they came from.
Yeah.
That's big news, too. Lately, I've seen all sorts of stories about Betty and Barney Hill, and scientists looking at her maps. And that's the one thing that's always got me about that story is her fucking maps and how pretty close to accurate they were. But anyway, that is the news, Chris.
Fantastic.
Such as it is.
This has been Fortean Slip, episode 90. If you like this shit, hit the like button. If you don't, hit the thumbs down button. Leave a comment. Whether you want to bitch, complain, pat us on the back, say the show was nice, whatever, I don't give a shit. Leave a comment. Go check out Dred Funn at dredfunn.com. Also check him out at youtube.com/dredfunn. Check out Richard's blog. He has schizophrenic spelt wrong. So the link is below the YouTube video on YouTube.
I can't spell it either.
And have a good week, people.